Summary: The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Have you ever wondered why some people quickly rise to the top, gaining respect and influence, while others, despite working hard, remain forgotten and unrecognized? The truth is, the world doesn't operate solely on merit, but on invisible strategies that govern the game of power. In Robert Greene's book, The 48 Laws of Power, these hidden rules are revealed in a raw, direct, and unfiltered way. This summary will show you how to apply each of them in your life to protect yourself from manipulation and gain authority in any environment. Before we dive in, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, because here you'll find summaries of the world's most impactful books, always translated into practical strategies for your personal and professional life. Law 1. Never outshine the master. In the world of power, arrogance is a fatal mistake. Many people fall because they display their skills too overtly in front of superiors, sparking envy and fear. A clear historical example comes from the French court. Nicolas Fouquet, Louis XIV's finance minister, organized a lavish party to impress the king. Instead of admiration, the result was his imprisonment because the king felt threatened. The lesson is simple: make those above you appear more brilliant than they truly are. In a modern context, this applies at work. Instead of competing with your boss, highlight their leadership, because this creates space for your silent growth. Law 2. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. Betrayal rarely comes from declared enemies, but from friends who become envious. Julius Caesar was assassinated not by his most obvious rivals, but by Brutus, a close friend. Greene teaches that defeated enemies can be more loyal than friends, because they have something to prove. In the corporate world, this means that alliances with old rivals can yield more solid partnerships than fragile friendships, which are always vulnerable to envy. Law 3. Conceal your intentions. Revealing plans too early is like handing over your weapons before the battle. Napoleon was a master at hiding his objectives until the last moment, confusing adversaries. This law teaches that predictability is poison in the game of power. In daily life, this means you shouldn't reveal all the details of your projects. Maintain some mystery, because those who know less cannot sabotage your steps. Law 4. Always say less than necessary. Silence is a powerful weapon. Abraham Lincoln often responded to attacks with few words, leaving his opponents uncertain. The more you speak, the greater the chance of revealing weaknesses. In today's world, this applies to meetings, negotiations, and even social media. Being direct, brief, and calculated increases the weight of each sentence and conveys self-control. Law 5. Guard your reputation with your life. Reputation is the shield of power. Queen Elizabeth I of England understood this early on. Her name was associated with purity and strength, which intimidated adversaries without her ever needing to fight. Greene reminds us that destroying someone's reputation is more effective than attacking them directly. At work, this means constantly monitoring your image and acting quickly against gossip or defamation attempts. Law 6. Court attention at all costs. The world forgets those who blend into the crowd. P.T. Barnum, the famous American showman, used scandalous tricks to keep the spotlight on himself, even when he had nothing new to present. Power demands visibility. Today, this translates into positioning. If you don't appear, you don't exist. Cultivate presence, whether in meetings, on social media, or in social interactions. Those who are forgotten have no power. Law 7. Get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. Thomas Edison became famous for inventions that, in practice, were developed by his team. He understood Greene's law. It's not raw effort that generates power, but the ability to centralize recognition. In a modern context, this doesn't mean stealing credit, but knowing how to lead projects in a way that your name is always associated with the final outcome. Power is remembrance, not effort. Law 8. Make other people come to you. Use bait if necessary. Sun Tzu already said in The Art of War attract the enemy to the battlefield you've chosen. Greene reinforces that attracting is always better than pursuing. When you force others to come to you, you already control the terrain. In negotiations, for example, whoever dictates the location and time has a psychological advantage. The secret is to create irresistible incentives for others to move in your direction. Law 9. Win through your actions, never through argument. Words generate resentment, actions generate respect. Michelangelo didn't argue with critics. He simply displayed his masterpieces, which silenced any objection. Greene explains that verbal victory is always temporary, but victory in practice is definitive. In today's world, this means showing results, not just making promises. These first 9 laws reveal a pattern. Power is built both on controlling perceptions and on the ability to act strategically. It's not enough to work hard. You need to understand the psychology of power, learn to position yourself, and know when to speak, when to be silent, and when to manipulate the environment in your favor. And if these laws already seem intense, just wait until the next part, where we'll delve into even subtler principles capable of destroying reputations, creating dependencies, and transforming allies into faithful followers. Law 10. Infection. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky. Misfortune is contagious. People burdened with defeats, pessimism, and bad luck can drag you down to the same fate. Greene reminds us that negative emotions are as transmissible as a disease. An example comes from 18th century France, when Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette surrounded themselves with poorly prepared advisors, many of whom were mired in bad luck and previous failures. The result was the fall of the monarchy and the guillotine. The lesson is clear. Distance yourself from those who constantly attract problems and gravitate towards successful people because their energy strengthens your path. In modern life, this means carefully choosing your friends, business partners, and even co-workers, as associating with negative people inevitably leads you down the same abyss. Law 11. Make people dependent on you. True independence is born from the dependence of others. The Medici family in Florence consolidated power by becoming indispensable to artists, bankers, and common citizens. Everyone needed them to prosper. The more indispensable you are, the greater your freedom. Greene teaches that you should never reveal all your knowledge or all your skills. Always keep something that makes you necessary. In the corporate world, this means becoming a reference point in a strategic area, so that your absence is impossible to ignore. Dependence generates security, because those who need you will never let you fall. Law 12. Use selective honesty and generosity. A sincere action can disarm even the most suspicious enemies. Abraham Lincoln mastered this art. Amid intense political disputes, he used small gestures of honesty to win over adversaries and transform them into temporary allies. This honesty wasn't innocent, but calculated. Greene shows that a single concession can open the door to countless future manipulations. In daily life, a gift at the right moment or a strategically sincere word can win trust and open doors that previously seemed closed. Law 13. When asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest. People forget favors, but they never ignore what they gain in the present. Julius Caesar understood this perfectly. When he needed political support, he didn't remind senators of old debts. He offered immediate advantages. Greene reinforces that you should never appeal to compassion or the memory of past deeds. When asking for something, the key is to clearly show how helping you is also helping themselves. In today's world, this applies to business partnerships, project collaborations, and even personal relationships. Those who offer immediate benefit receive support without resistance. Law 14. Pose as a friend, work as a spy. Information is the most valuable currency of power. Catherine de' Medici governed France based on espionage. Many of those she called friends were, in fact, disguised spies, bringing crucial information. Greene teaches that observing carefully and listening more than talking is the most effective way to stay one step ahead. In a modern environment, this means paying attention to details in meetings, on social media, and in informal conversations. Every word spoken by others can become a weapon in your hands. Law 15. Crush your enemy totally. Nothing is more dangerous than leaving an enemy wounded. Napoleon Bonaparte underestimated Russia and didn't completely eliminate the threat. The result was his defeat and the fall of his empire. Greene shows that leaving a spark of revenge alive paves the way for a counterattack. In practice, this means that rivalries should be ended with no room for comeback. In companies, a partially defeated competitor can rise again and take market share. Power demands that you definitively conclude disputes. Law 16. Use absence to increase respect and honor. Always being present diminishes the value of your image. Ernest Hemingway, the famous writer, spent long periods away, and each return was celebrated with even greater intensity. Greene explains that absence creates scarcity and increases perceived value. At work and in social life, this means you shouldn't appear everywhere or participate in everything. Those who are seen too much become common. Those who know when to appear become unforgettable. Law 17. Keep others in suspended terror. Predictability gives control to the enemy. Genghis Khan conquered empires by maintaining an air of unpredictability in his attacks. His adversaries never knew where or when he would strike. Greene shows that the unexpected generates fear and respect in everyday life. This means not allowing your habits to become so obvious that they make you vulnerable. Small changes in behavior, strategic surprises, and unexpected moves are enough to keep others constantly on alert. Law 18. Do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. Isolation is a trap disguised as security. Roman emperors who hid behind high walls eventually fell due to lack of contact with reality. Greene shows that those who close themselves off lose information, allies, and connections. In the modern world, this applies to professionals who isolate themselves from their team or companies that ignore the market. True power lies in circulation, alliances, and proximity to networks of influence. The more you connect, the more protected you become. These 9 laws demonstrate that power doesn't just rely on direct force, but on strategic intelligence in dealing with people. Learning to manipulate emotions with calculated gestures, maintaining unpredictability, and eliminating threats without hesitation are fundamental keys. And if you've already grasped the impact of these strategies, prepare for the next part, where we'll delve into even sharper laws, capable of transforming adversaries into followers, manipulating hearts and minds, and reinventing your own image to gain respect and authority in any scenario. Law 19. Know who you're dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person. Never treat all people the same way. Greene teaches that there are different types of individuals, and each reacts uniquely. A grave error is to offend the wrong person. Many kings lost their thrones by underestimating silent courtiers who harbored grudges. Alexander the Great was feared not only for his military might, but for his ability to identify who could become an ally or a mortal enemy. In the modern world, this means understanding the profiles of bosses, colleagues, and clients. Do not provoke or challenge someone who can destroy your reputation with a simple move. Law 20. Do not commit to anyone. One who commits too early loses freedom. During the Cold War, smaller countries that remained neutral were able to negotiate with both sides and extract benefits. Greene shows that independence is a powerful weapon. Those who don't commit to one side become desired by all. In today's environment, this means not blindly tying yourself to a single company, ideology, or person. The more independent you are, the more sought after you will be. Law 21. Play sucker to catch a sucker. Seem dumber than your mark. Nobody likes to feel inferior. Socrates used the technique of appearing ignorant, asking simple questions, until others revealed more than they intended. Greene reinforces that feigning naivety is a weapon for obtaining information and winning trust. In daily life, this means not always showing all your knowledge. By positioning yourself as a learner, you can gain much more than if you showed your cleverness from the start. Law 22. Use the surrender tactic. Transform weakness into power. Resisting when at a disadvantage only hastens defeat. Ancient China mastered the art of temporary surrender, retreating to gain time and returning stronger. Greene teaches that strategic surrender is not weakness, but intelligence. In today's world, this means knowing when to concede in a negotiation, accepting a momentary loss, and using that time to reorganize. Those who know when to surrender at the right moment return more prepared. Law 23. Concentrate your forces. Spreading energy across too many fronts weakens anyone. Genghis Khan's Mongols conquered half the world because they never dispersed their forces. They chose one target, attacked with maximum intensity, and only then moved on to the next. Greene reinforces that concentration is the key to victory. In work and business, this means not trying to embrace all projects at once. Choose what is most strategic and direct all your energy toward it. Law 24. Play the perfect courtier. In the game of power, it's not always strength that wins, but elegance. The courtier knows how to please superiors, manipulate equals, and subtly exert dominance. Baltasar Gracian, a Spanish philosopher, described the art of dissimulation as a weapon of survival. Greene shows that the perfect courtier uses diplomacy, charm, and calculated words to thrive in hostile environments. Today, this means mastering corporate etiquette, knowing when to speak, and how to please without appearing obsequious. Law 25. Recreate yourself. Never accept the roles the world imposes on you. Napoleon recreated himself countless times, transforming from a military man to an emperor, adapting his image according to the audience. Greene teaches that power lies in constructing your own identity and not letting others define it. In today's world, this means controlling your image, whether on social media, at work, or in your community. Those who recreate themselves maintain novelty and never fall into oblivion. Law 26. Keep your hands clean. Power demands an impeccable image. Louis XIV, the Sun King, maintained his image as a perfect sovereign. Even though intrigues and manipulations lay behind the scenes, Greene reinforces that you must use third parties to carry out unpopular actions, preserving your reputation as someone just and correct. In a modern environment, this means never getting directly involved in gossip, failures, or tasks that could tarnish your image. A clean reputation is a shield against attacks. Law 27. Play on people's need to believe to create a cult-like following. People have a need to believe in something greater. Greene shows that charismatic leaders throughout history created almost religious movements, as Muhammad did with Islam, or modern leaders with political ideologies. They offered symbols, rituals, and vague but powerful promises. Today, this means creating a cause, a purpose, something that inspires others to follow you without question. Faith is one of the strongest tools of control. Law 28. Enter action with boldness. Hesitation conveys weakness. Hernan Cortés conquered Mexico with daring, burning his ships to prevent his men from fleeing. Greene teaches that courage impresses and even corrects mistakes made. In today's world, this means that when you embark on a project, you must do so with complete confidence. Boldness attracts respect, while timidity attracts contempt. Law 29. Plan all the way to the end. Many fail because they don't foresee the ramifications of their actions. Otto von Bismarck, the German chancellor, planned years ahead, foreseeing alliances and ruptures before they happened. Greene shows that planning all the way to the end prevents fatal surprises. Today, this means not being swayed solely by the short term. Every decision must consider long-range consequences, because victory or defeat is defined at the end. So far, we've covered almost 30 laws that show how power works in practice. But it's at this point that the game becomes even more intense, because the next laws reveal how to manipulate options, exploit fantasies, discover others' weaknesses, and control time to your advantage. Before we move on to the next part, take a moment to leave your like and subscribe to the channel, because this is the place where you learn the greatest secrets from the world's most influential books and discover how to apply them in your real life. Law 30. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. Visible effort diminishes the impact of achievement. Greene teaches that power is strengthened when others believe your deeds are natural, almost inevitable. Mozart composed music that seemed to flow from his soul, but behind it were years of tireless practice. The secret was to conceal the effort. In today's world, this means not exposing all the grind it took to achieve a result. Show the final product with confidence, without revealing the backstage sweat. Those who appear to have innate talent generate admiration and respect. Law 31. Control the options. Get others to play with the cards you deal. The best manipulations give the illusion of freedom. Greene shows that when you offer options, but all of them lead to the desired outcome, control is total. Henry Kissinger, the American diplomat, was a master of this art, offering adversaries alternatives that, no matter the choice, benefited the United States. Today, this means structuring negotiations so that others feel they chose freely, when in reality you already controlled the outcome. Law 32. Play to people's fantasies. Reality can be too harsh, which is why people seek illusions. Greene reminds us that kings and rulers have always used magical symbols, prophecies, and narratives to control populations. Louis XIV presented himself as the Sun King, feeding the fantasy that his authority was divine. In today's world, this means creating inspiring narratives that alleviate the harshness of daily life. Leaders who offer dreams, however vague, attract crowds. Law 33. Discover each man's thumbscrew. Every human being has a vulnerable point. Greene calls this vulnerability a secret screw or thumbscrew. Alexander the Great knew his generals' weaknesses well and used them to keep them under control. Discovering insecurities, fears, or hidden desires provides the key to manipulating anyone. In daily life, this means observing until you find what motivates or weakens someone. He who knows this point can turn it when convenient. Law 34. Be royal in your manner. Act like a king to be treated like one. The way you present yourself defines how you will be treated. Greene reminds us that kings and queens always behaved with dignity, even before ascending to the throne. Napoleon, still a general, already carried himself like an emperor. Today, This means acting with self-confidence and authority. Those who convey greatness in posture and attitude are treated with respect, even before possessing official titles. Law 35. Master the art of timing. Haste reveals a lack of control. Greene shows that great leaders know how to wait for the right moment to act. The Roman general Fabius Maximus, known as the delayer, defeated stronger enemies simply by mastering time and avoiding hasty battles. In today's world, this means not making impulsive decisions in negotiations, investments, or personal disputes. Waiting for the right moment is often more powerful than attacking immediately. Law 36. Disdain things you cannot have. Ignoring them is the best revenge. Giving attention to something unattainable is giving power to it. Greene reminds us that by ignoring enemies or impossible opportunities, you reduce their importance. Diocletian, the Roman emperor, voluntarily renounced the throne, disdaining power when everyone believed no one would give it up. Disdain generates respect and intimidates. In daily life, this means not showing obsession with things beyond your reach. Silence and indifference weaken rivals. Law 37. Create compelling spectacles. Image has more impact than words. Greene explains that great leaders have always known how to enchant crowds with spectacles. Adolf Hitler used grand parades and architectural settings to create a sense of absolute power. Today, this means understanding that symbols, images, and visual experiences have much more impact than long explanations. A theatrical gesture can be more convincing than 1,000 arguments. Law 38. Think as you like, but behave like others. The world punishes those who seem too strange. Giordano Bruno was burned alive not for his ideas themselves, but for exhibiting them provocatively in a society that wasn't ready to accept them. Greene teaches that originality should be reserved for safe environments. Today, this means sharing innovative ideas only with those who can value them, maintaining an appearance of conformity before the masses. Law 39. Stir up waters to catch fish. Anger and loss of control are weapons against the enemy. Greene shows that if you maintain composure while provoking fury in others, you will have the advantage. Otto von Bismarck often manipulated adversaries with calculated words to lead them into error. In the modern world, this means maintaining coolness in discussions, while pressuring others until they lose their reason. Self-control is one of the deadliest weapons. These laws reveal that power doesn't just depend on strength or intelligence, but on the art of shaping perceptions. Knowing how to create illusions, control time, exploit weaknesses, and master your posture transforms anyone into a figure of authority. And if you've already grasped the weight of these strategies, get ready, because the final part will reveal the sharpest laws of all, which show how to avoid traps, how to destroy the perfection that generates envy, and how to become so adaptable that no one will ever be able to defeat you. Law 40. Despise the free lunch. What is offered without cost hides traps. Greene explains that everything truly valuable demands payment, whether in money, effort, or time. The Roman Emperor Augustus avoided free favors because he knew that future demands came with them. In today's world, accepting seemingly cost-free advantages can mean debts of loyalty and unexpected obligations. True power comes from paying the price and maintaining independence. Law 41. Avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. One who succeeds a legendary figure carries the weight of comparison. Louis XVIII, who took over France after Napoleon, never managed to stand out. Greene shows that it's better to forge your own path rather than occupying someone else's space. Today, this means not clinging to the shadow of previous leaders. Create your own identity and establish your legacy, instead of trying to surpass someone already idealized. Law 42. Strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. Chaos often centers around a specific leader. Greene teaches that by neutralizing the central figure who holds a group together, the rest become disorganized. In the ancient world, defeating the king was often enough to win the entire war. Today, this means that in corporate or social disputes, it's more effective to weaken the rival leadership than to confront each follower. Law 43. Work on the hearts and minds of others. Sustainable power is not maintained merely by imposition, but by persuasion. Greene reminds us that Machiavelli taught about the importance of controlling both fear and love, but that real control happens when emotions are mastered. In today's world, this means motivating people by what they believe and feel, not just by obligations. He who controls hearts and minds never needs chains. Law 44. Disarm and infuriate with the mirror effect. Mirroring an enemy's behavior disorients and weakens them. Greene shows that reflecting someone's gestures, words, or attitudes creates discomfort and confusion. Byzantine emperors used this tactic to ridicule rivals in public. Today, this can be applied in negotiations, subtly replicating arguments until the adversary feels vulnerable before their own reflection. Law 45. Preach the need for change, but never reform too much at once. People fear radical transformations. Greene teaches that any change needs to appear as a natural evolution and not a violent rupture. The French Revolution partly failed because it tried to change everything suddenly, generating resistance. In today's world, this means implementing novelties gradually, making others feel that they are merely taking a step forward and not abandoning everything they knew. Law 46. Never appear too perfect. Absolute perfection arouses envy and hostility. Greene shows that kings, generals, and artists who presented themselves as infallible ended up surrounded by silent enemies. An example was Caesar, whose aura of absolute power contributed to the conspiracy that led to his death. Today, this means exposing harmless human weaknesses, showing strategic vulnerability, and avoiding an image of impeccability. Those who appear human are more readily accepted. Law 47. Know when to stop. Going beyond what's necessary can turn victory into defeat. Alexander the Great conquered half the known world, but insisted on advancing to the limit of his troops, losing support and control. Greene teaches that it is essential to recognize the point of conclusion before excess destroys achievements. In daily life, this means knowing when to end a negotiation, when to stop a project, or when to retreat. Law 48. Assume formlessness. The last principle teaches that power cannot be fixed. Those who assume a predictable form become an easy target. Greene compares power to water, which adapts to any container, molding itself to the terrain. The Chinese general Sun Tzu already said that flexibility is the greatest weapon. In the modern world, this means being adaptable, accepting constant changes, and not clinging to rigid plans. Those who flow, survive. Throughout this summary of Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power we've seen that each law reveals the essence of human relationships in environments of competition, influence, and survival. From not outshining superiors to learning to be fluid like water, each teaching shows that power is a combination of perception, strategy, and behavior. If you've made it this far, you've already taken a step ahead of most, because understanding these laws is the first step to never again being manipulated and to gaining respect and authority. If this content resonated with you, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with someone who needs to learn the invisible rules of the game of power. Knowledge is the true weapon, and the more people who have access to it, the better prepared we will be to win in any field of life.